What is going on, online fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives, Make Money Online Trainer podcast. This is the #1 show for online fitness coaches who are trying to grow a successful online business. In today's episode, this one's going to be a little bit of a different episode. And I haven't actually done a solo episode in a while. It's been a minute since I've done a solo podcast episode. And I feel like I haven't really been inspired to do one. And today I kind of felt called to do one. So I'm going to do my best to communicate and be as honest and open and vulnerable with how I'm feeling as possible. So yesterday morning, I got a text from a good friend, and this good friend had notified me that Mike Mayo, one of our clients who's been with PT Domination for a year and a half, was found dead. And it almost didn't feel real at first. It almost didn't really feel like it was hard for me to process. It was one of those things when you hear it, it's kind of doesn't register at first. It was kind of it was hard to process, and I didn't really know how to feel other than shocked, I guess is the right way to put it. I was extremely shocked, and it hadn't fully set in yet. It almost felt like it couldn't possibly be true. Mike Mayo was early 40s, happiest fucking dude, so positive, so genuine, and so young. And he's got 2 kids, and he was 2 days out from stepping on stage to get his pro qualifier. And for those of you that actually listen to the podcast on a regular basis, you know that Mike Mayo has gone through a journey. He went through a journey with PT Domination, and he was one of our rock stars. And he was one of the guys that was always on the podcast, always showing up, always asking Cole and I questions, always just contributing to the community and giving back, and always so willing to answer any of the students' DMs who were in message conversations with him, who had been listening to the podcast or followed his story and were inspired by his message. And I wanted to do this podcast to honor and remember Mike, and to share, how I feel as for the time that I got the opportunity to be his mentor. And it didn't really hit me that he was gone until last night around 7:30 p.m. I got an Instagram call, and it was an Instagram call from Cindy, his girlfriend. And when Cindy called me, she told me that she was just so grateful that Mike worked with me and PT Domination. And she was so grateful that we were in his life because he was chasing his dreams and he was following his passion and he was doing what he was supposed to do. And he had found his purpose and he'd found his people. And that's when it actually hit that he was gone. Because I think up until then, I couldn't fully understand or comprehend it. And then when she called me, it made me realize that it was real. So Mike, I wrote you something because it was hard for me to write this morning, but I was just thinking about how the first time Mike came on Podchats, I remember he was sitting in his work shirt and hiding in his back office. And he raised his hand to ask a question about his online coaching business. And Cole and I were laughing because we're like, Mike is this jack fucking dude, this massive monster wearing this work shirt and his corporate job. And he was struggling to grow his coaching business. And Cole and I asked him, we're like, well, why haven't you gone full time yet? And he's like, I want to, but there's a lot of fear and I don't know if I'll be able to make it. And Cole and I, we talked to him and we encouraged him, and we were like, you need to quit that job. Like you need to go all in with your coaching business and you need to pursue your dreams. Like clearly this is something that you want if you're on this podcast and you're talking to me and Cole and sneaking off into the back at work wearing your work shirt. Like obviously this is something that you want. So he took it. He was like, that sounds good, boys, whatever. He came back 4 weeks later, struggling with the same issue. And he was in his work shirt at his office talking about how he was struggling to grow his coaching business. And again, Cole and I, this time we drew a line and we're like, you need to put in your 2 weeks. And the next time you come on this podcast, if you haven't put in your 2 weeks, we're not letting you raise your hand. So he comes on the podcast, and a week later, and he wrote his letter of resignation, and he quit his job, and he quit his corporate job, and he went full-time online. And he started building his dream. He started building his legacy, and he started stepping into his power. And this was a man that was working a 6-figure salary corporate job and ended up quitting that to go full-time online, and was able to, live out his dream for the time that he had left. And it's hard for me to actually think about the fact that I'll never talk to Mike again, because you know, I think that I've had members, I've had friends and family pass. It didn't really hit like it hit when I found out that Mike passed. And I think that it's different when somebody's a light in your life. It's different when somebody brings so much value to you. And when you talk to Mike, he like lit up the room, and he was a light in our community, and he was a light for our friendship. He was a light for everybody that came in contact with him, and he was a light for everybody that had the chance to meet him. He elevated the energy of the room with his presence, and he was somebody that I looked forward to talking to, and somebody that every time I talked to him, he made me happy. And he's somebody that I look up to and I respected and I admired. And my heart is heavy. I think that's the only way to describe it. I feel like my heart is heavy. And to his family who he's leaving behind, we're like, all we can do at Pizza Domination is do our best to honor his memory. And I think that the way that we do that is we chase our own dreams. I think that we embody the character traits that Mike brought to the world. And that was being willing to be courageous enough to go after that thing that we want, and being willing to go all in on our dreams and all in on our passions, even if that means taking a risk and like avoiding playing it safe, and to be willing to risk it all for the chance at achieving your goals, and just to be a good person. Like Mike was just a good person. He was just somebody that made you feel better. He was just somebody that made time for you. He was somebody that always had space to have a conversation, and he was somebody that always had a smile on his face. And I think that is something that I think we're all going to miss. So Mike, I will miss you more than my words can describe. It doesn't seem fair, and it also still doesn't seem real. And I'm just doing my best to process. And I think everybody's in the community and his family and everybody that was close to him and everybody that knew him and even had a chance to talk to him for a minute can feel it. It doesn't seem fair. And I'm going to do my best to honor your memory and embody your enthusiasm for life, and embody your passion for life, and embody your authenticity for life, and then do the hard shit and be willing to keep going and go all in on my dreams, because that is what you would do. So dear Mike, I will miss you more than words can describe. And for those of you that knew Mike, you know that we lost a beautiful soul yesterday, and it is a sad day today. It is a sad day. That's it, guys. I just wanted to come on here and share. Mike was a special part of my life, and he was a special part of this podcast, and he was a special part of our journey. And if you are loyal to the podcast and you listen to the podcast and you've heard the podcast, you've heard a story, and it's likely that you were also inspired by Mike's story and what he did with his life and how he showed up and his willingness to chase his dreams. So, if you can take something from this, it's be willing to go all in, be willing to pursue your passions, because life truly is like it is. It is short. And I think it's so important to not waste a minute and to live every single day heading towards the things that you want and chasing your dreams and going all in. That's it, you guys. That's all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Hope everyone has a great day, and send some prayers to Mike's family and his kids. And if you do feel like helping and you do feel like supporting right now, there's going to be a link in the description of this podcast. Also, if you're in the Change Lives Academy, we've got a pinned post, and we are doing our best to get something together for Mike's family. And, I don't really think that there's, obviously finances is not going to take this pain away, but it can help, because he does have 2 kids that he is leaving behind, and he's got his girlfriend who also has 2 kids. So anything that we can do to help out is going to mean a lot. So that's it, you guys. That's all. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at @TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.